And thank you for that. Meanwhile, more on that lawsuit Peter Alexander just told you about, filed today by Donald Trump's campaign. This is out in Nevada, Clark County, Nevada. That's where Las Vegas is. As we mentioned, that lawsuit has now been thrown out by a judge out there. NBC News correspondent Pete Williams, Justice correspondent Pete Williams, joins us from the newsroom. So, Pete, tell us more. This stems from that early voting period in Nevada. It ended on Friday. There were still voters in line. They were allowed to vote. Trump campaign was saying shouldn't have been.
Right. Two claims they make, basically. These are four largely Democratic precincts in Las Vegas. They say, as you do, that voters who showed up after the polls closed, that were not in line when the polls closed, were still allowed to vote. But the bigger question, they say, is that some of these precincts changed the closing time after the closing times were already announced, and the Trump lawyers say you can't do that. Now, what they asked the judge to do in this lawsuit they filed today is they said, we want you to set the voting machines and the ballots aside. And the judge said, well, we were going to do that anyway. That's what we do at every precinct. What is it you really want? And during the hearing, they said, well, we need to preserve a record here. We need to know who all the poll workers were. And that's what they really want. So I think, Steve, this is all about doing the spade work here that would be necessary if the Trump lawyers decide later to file a contest and contest the results of these elections. And presumably then the relief would be only the votes would count that came in before the closing time, if that's what a court were later to rule, in which case we're probably talking here about just a couple of hundred votes would be my guess.
All right, Pete Williams, NBC News Justice correspondent. Pete, thank you for that. Now, a quick check-in over here with the big board, going to be giving this thing quite a workout tonight. Final check before the polls close here on the road to 270. What to watch for tonight as these results come in. So, look, the bottom line.